What up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Omaze, and here's the deal, guys. This is the last week to enter our Omaze giveaway, where you can win a dream road trip through the Pacific Northwest in a brand new 2020 C8 Corvette. And guess what? I'm going on the trip. Not in the car with you. You're going to bring your homie. I'm going on the trip with Hannah. We're going to be in a Lambo. You're going to be in the new Corvette C8. Here's the deal. Adventure Drives, our old friend Rob Ferretti, puts on these great road trips. It's 5-star, the whole deal. It's like all the good things about doing like Gumball and Bull Run back in the day, but without any of the annoying, terrible things. And we're giving you an all expenses paid trip with a Corvette from Gotham Dream Cars, the hotels, the travel, all the taxes paid, and $1,000 for gas, which there's almost no way you're going to go through. It's a 2,000-mile trip. So you get some extra cash there. I'm going on it. There's going to be like 12 to 14 cars, I think. The hotels are going to be dope. The roads are going to be dope. And when you enter, all the donations go to Team Rubicon, which is a really, really neat charity. I cannot recommend reading up on them enough. They do some really cool work. I only got 60 seconds, so let me tell you how to do it, and you can read about the charity elsewhere. Go to omaze.com/thesmokingtire. That's omaze.com/thesmokingtire. OMAZE.com/thesmokingtire. Donate, and I wish you good luck with your entry, and I'll see you in the Pacific Northwest. Also, I'm going to use this other ad space here to remind everybody how the Super Chat features work. We put up the live show earlier in the day. If you're subscribed to us on YouTube, which you should be, you get a notification that that live show is happening. You can go into the Super Chat and ask your questions before the show starts, so you're not limited to just doing it while the show is on. And a lot of people ask me how they can get in the Super Chat when they don't catch the live show. If you catch the posting of the live event earlier, you can do it. All right, on this episode of the Smoking Tire Podcast, we got regular car reviews calling in from Pennsylvania. It's Nick the Roman, it's Brian, Mr. Regular, and it's Ivan, their new cinematographer pal who helped them make this beautiful Volkswagen Eurovan film, which I have since seen, but it came out just before we did this podcast, so I hadn't caught it yet. But we learned all about it and what Regular Car Reviews is trying to do to take their game to the next level. It's the Roman, Mr. Regular, and Ivan on the Smoking Tire Podcast.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's the fucking Smoking Tire Podcast. We begin with the Slutmobile and regular car reviews live from Pennsylvania. What's happening, boys? And regular car reviews plus Ivan.
Plus Ivan, the filmmaker from Toronto.
Oh, you found your own Canadian. I see. So he's all about this Tom Green shit.
I do.
Hi, Ivan. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my
You
God,
sound
it's
Canadian,
messed up.
for sure. Mr. Regular, your wardrobe is excellent.
You blend in so well with your background.
You really have.
Wow.
Did you dress for the background?
You know what? Well, a lot of my clothing is brown. So, and this building.
So for the radio people, Mr. Regular's room that he's broadcasting from looks like a second grade classroom. Basically, there's sort of a nice piece of art. The kiwi bird, Apteryx australis.
I got for those people just listening afterwards, I am gesturing to a tea towel that my friend Juliet Johnson gave to me from New Zealand. We sent some care packages back and forth.
What does one use a tea towel for?
Fucking tea, Zach.
Which part of the tea?
I don't know why they call it. It's just a dish rag. That's all it is. But tea towel sounds better, I guess.
Yeah. That my trainer's trying to get me on this Turkish towels. Have you ever tried to shower with a Turkish towel? Do you know what a Turkish towel is?
No, explain it to me.
They haven't made it to Pennsylvania yet, and frankly, fucking rightly so. It's a super hipster LA thing. A Turkish towel is basically a carpet. It's basically a thin kind of rug you'd lay across your bathroom, but someone picked it up and decided to start drying themselves. It has fucking tassels on it. That's what you need to know about it.
Yeah,
it has tassels.
It's a shamag, but it just hung it on a coat rack. Like I have one of these, and I like it. I like putting water on it to stay cool in the heat, but it would not dry me off.
Yeah, it's like something you stand on when you get out of the shower.
You know what's really good being a towel though? Towels.
A towel.
Yeah,
they have solved
They're
this
excellent.
problem.
Yeah, even, they couldn't even be taken down by ShamWow.
And then wait, and the Roman is hiding somewhere in this Zoom call. We should. Are you there?
I'm right over here. Yeah, I what I like about this app is that it makes my teeth look whiter than they actually are. So I can't really complain.
It's all about the lighting. In tungsten light, your teeth look amazing. At 5,700 Kelvin, it's a fucking disaster.
Right.
So what have you guys been up to? I haven't seen you in fucking forever, man.
Yeah, I know. I desperately wanted to go to LA this month, but that shit ain't happening. So
have you not been to LA since you came for a ride with me and we got pulled over by the police and poo came out of both of your bums?
No, we came back. We came back after that. We were on your show after we came back from New Zealand.
Oh, right.
And
Yes.
And then I went back to New Zealand for a personal trip, and I swung by on the way back, but I think you were doing something else. I went by, looked at the shop, looked at the garage. That was like a year ago. And then just got on the plane, came back here. We did a bunch of other trips since then. We were doing filming on the road about once every month, and then kind of hunkering down here and just kicking out videos. And we wanted to get to the point with the channel where we would either take a on-the-road trip once a month, or I would get to have a personal week off once a month just to get out of my small town. Because once you get that travel bug, it really sticks with you. Or at least the freedom just is like, hey, I've never been to, I took a trip to Muncie, Indiana.
Just because?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said just because? Or were you just curious about the origins of the transmission?
Shit, is that the...
that's Jasper.
Oh.
Muncie 21, good transmission.
Oh, that's a different... Oh, excuse me.
Muncie made I don't know. Well, my experience was like the really good transmissions from the 60s.
Oh,
like good 4-speed.
Right.
Muncie 20,
weren't they
21.
from Muncie, Indiana? Isn't that why they're called that? I don't know. I could also be a moron. I've been known to be a moron before, but I'm just throwing a fucking wrench at the wall with that one.
That would be the most interesting thing they export there. I did a report on Indiana when I was a kid because I got to pick 49th out of 50 students, and I got Indiana. And man, I was the encyclopedic page was like 2 pages long because they're like, corn and corn products. Next,
yeah.
Go talk to.
They export
Pennsylvania.
depressed people. They go. Anyway, I'm super jealous that you took the initiative to go back to New Zealand for a personal reason. Because when we left New Zealand, I was like, fucking, I'm going back there just to chill. And then I never did because I'm an idiot.
I went back there, hung out with the guys from Automation for 1 week, and then spent another week with the Johnsons, the tea towel people, out at their farm in Carterton. We went down to the South Island, finally. We went on this old steamship. And then we went to that one racetrack that I think we talked about, like some rich guy. I think it's the rich pet food guy.
I don't know.
The guys from Automation, some guy who built his own racetrack on the South Island outside of Queenstown.
Really?
New Zealand somewhere. Yeah.
The racetrack we went to was in the North Island because it was outside of Wellington. We went to a go-kart track somewhere that was like the dopest go-kart track I have ever been to in my life, and it was very expensive karting, if I recall correctly.
And it was the longest outdoor kart in like the southern hemisphere.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
The track was really long.
gangster.
You could have driven a car on it.
Yeah. I saw it. I later saw it in a movie. I forget what they shot there, but
did they have like old Americana stuff like there, like the intentionally cheesy dinosaur and like another car filled with rocks and like what looked like a miniature golf course, but there was no putting green there?
No, it was not like fucking Wally World. No.
Okay, no, yeah.
No, I actually don't remember where it was. I remember it was outside Rotorua, maybe by Rotorua.
Okay.
It was fucking sick though. Anyway, cars. Have you guys been driving anything, or have you been? What stood out? I saw you did a Ferrari recently. That's always fun.
575.
Oh.
I did that. That was the second Ferrari I ever drove. The first one was Doug's. And that was back when he was
360.
living in Philly.
Well, those are both the same kind of period in like right. They're within a year or two of each other. That old 360 and then this one.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking of you because I remembered on one of the Smoking Tire podcasts you were talking about how the interiors of those things just get all sticky.
Yeah, the sticky
and I remember
buttons.
that going into it, and I'm like, "How sticky can it be?" And I'm like, "Oh, this feels like the plastic is just breaking down."
Yeah, peep show floor sticky is what you're looking for. It's awful sticky, and in fact, anytime you look at any Ferrari listing on like Bring a Trailer or whatever from like let's call it 93, like 348s, 355s, 360s, and 550s. If you look at their listings when they go for sale, it'll say sticky buttons fixed, at a certain point. It's actually very expensive to have that
But
done.
Look how good
Zach's pulling up.
That is gorgeous.
Zach's pulling up a good picture there.
Fuck.
All those little toggle switches above the HVAC controls, all of those were gooey.
Ew. What? Is it like the rubber plastic compound they use that just breaks down or something? That is so odd.
It was a material that when it was brand new, it felt like a rubberized. So it's sort of
Yep.
when you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes
100%.
they do it to paper. Like if you get a really expensive like a fire or something, it's got like that rubberized thing, but fucking over time it's just
because in new cars when I've used switches that feel like that, they do feel nice. It's like you have like the responsiveness of plastic, but it's a little softer. But over
it
time,
probably was great when it was new, but they just don't know that in 10 years it's gonna look like fucking garbage. They also used Brian, on the one you drive, was the dash peeling away from the windshield a little bit? That happens too sometimes. No, he went away. Oh, he got a bowl of something.
Pie.
A pie? How American of you. Anyway.
I have a metal spork.
Oh.
You were like Milton in The Office, dude. I mean, it's like you remind me of Fight Club because your tie is the color of the corkboard behind you. It's like, can I get this tie in corkboard brown? Like, yes, you can.
Someone's gonna like green screen his tie on his tie.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Cornflower blue.
So what's this thing you guys
quick
shot?
Technical question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, quick technical question. If I need to mute myself, do I hold down the spacebar?
That does not sound like a good idea.
I think if you mute yourself, you hold the space bar if you want to talk, and then you let it go, and it remutes.
No, you want to click this, Brian. See where it says mute right over here?
Yeah.
Down bottom left. You click that. Click the microphone, and that mutes you. Or I can do it for you.
Yeah.
I just didn't want anybody listening to hear.
Look, I muted him.
Now he's gone.
Now he can eat his cereal. Now he's fine.
Pie. That was just like
Go get your shine box.
It was just like my Zoom Seder from last week.
And Ivan muted himself. Okay.
Oh, we had a Zoom Seder, and my wife got quite drunk for it. It was just a grid of family members, and Hannah's wasted and had some things to say.
Oh man, that sounds like a good time.
You need someone to be organized, though. We then had a family Zoom meeting, which and then there was no leader, and it was a fucking shit show. At least in Hannah's, her cousin Shira, who's the wedding planner. Oh, it was like, all right.
Then you.
Yeah, she's used to like slave driving at weddings. She's like, here's how this shit's gonna go.
Mine was an exact representation of normal Seder because my parents fought.
Yeah.
But like even while using the computer, it was like, who's holding the phone? Who's showing what on the phone? Dad's reading a prayer. Mom's showing me a plate. And it was just the same thing.
Hey, Roman, you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm right here.
All right.
Yeah.
So Brian over email kept talking about this pilot you guys shot, and you guys want to talk about this pilot because he was real excited about it, but he's eating fucking pie. So it's time for you to sell this pilot. I know nothing about it besides that it exists, so tell me.
Okay, so basically we got together last summer with Ivan and his company Visual Inclination and shot a Vanagon, Westphalia, all that. I'm trying to find the more succinct way of saying this, of the idea being that we wanted to do something that was different from anything that we've done before, but also still very much on brand for RCR, because you get this like cross section of sort of different comments on an RCR. Like every RCR will either have, oh, this is the best review you guys have done in a while, or this is not like what I was expecting, or this is worse than I was expecting. And so basically you come away from it realizing that you can't please everybody. And so the best thing is, in a very, Freudian way, to please yourself. And ultimately, I think what we did was create something that was illustrating that we're the type of brand that can always be consistent but never static, that we're always changing and evolving or trying to. Because, yeah, we could keep doing certain like gross out humor or poop jokes or any of that stuff, or we could keep doing the sentimentality and sort of nostalgia stuff. But it's better to kind of have it as this melding of the two, so that you show both sides of what RCR can do, and you end up with something that is still recognizably RCR, even though it's more different and more like high quality than anything we've ever done. And so we're hoping that people can enjoy it and appreciate it on that level. And then if it gets like picked up by somebody, like that would be great. But for me personally, I've always been incredibly grateful to be able to do what I do with this channel, to be able to write with Brian, to be able to work with people like Ivan, with people like yourself, or you guys. It's like something that, even if it's like 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, whoever watches, that's more people who like us than I thought ever would growing up. Of just like, if I thought, if I had like 100,000 people who didn't like what we did, but I still had like the 10,000 who did, that's still more than I ever thought I would have gotten out of life. I thought I would have been off, teaching or tutoring or doing something along those lines. I always wanted to be a writer, and now I get to be a writer. And now I've gotten to work on this amazing project, co-writing this script, writing the end credits song, which was about my dad, because I lost him as a little kid. And I wanted to put those feelings of never really having those camping trips with a father before into the story and of the song, but also the story of the video itself, if that makes any sense. And so, yeah, it was just kind of weird to have this project that we wanted to be more than just a standard RCR review, but it's also still recognizably an RCR review.
But so the main difference we're talking is actual cinematic quality, as opposed to sort of your intentional ghettoism, which I love and find very endearing.
Yes. This Ivan and I worked together, I guess. Well, okay. Ivan, I can let him talk, but Ivan was a fan of RCR, came down to Pennsylvania to work on one of the RCR reviews. And then we started talking about, is it possible to take regular car reviews outside the internet? Would somebody actually pay us to create this? Because, and I want to let Ivan talk, but can you sell RCR? Is regular car reviews so disgusting that it can only exist on YouTube? Or can we find an angle where this would go to Amazon, Netflix, or something else? And that's what this pitch pilot is meant to prove. It's very fun to watch. It's cinematically orgasmic, but also it's meant to show somebody who And I don't know who these people are. I've never been in a boardroom. I've never had to pitch anything. But this is like all of the aspects of RCR, the dirty humor, the sentimentality, the research and everything else. And now you layer on Petrolicious, or actually it's way better than Petrolicious, cinematography on top of that. And this could be a show. So, Ivan, am I being correct here in my enthusiastic fluff?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Petrolicious is its own thing. I don't want to put myself above them. They do great stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think part of this exercise was to see, can RCR evolve into something else that is of the original, but something a bit new, different balance in the humor and the cinematics and the storytelling. And part of the goal was to, beyond just create something that would be really special for the fans, create something that could illustrate for somebody who isn't already a fan what this could be in a new form. So in the boardrooms, showing it to producers and agents and so on, we couldn't send them a link to an existing RCR show and say, well, it's this, but then the things that they're saying will be illustrated and you're just going to have to picture that and this and that. There would be too many asterisks to that pitch. So I wanted to sort of do a shorter version of what a full series could look like.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea. You have, I mean, in a lot of ways, the difference between somebody without a show or a talent looking for a show and an executive producer with a show is that the executive producer put up the money and the time to go out and film the 8-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute version of the show to present. If you fund that and you make that, you are now the executive producer. Welcome to fucking Hollywood. That's, in case you don't know, that's like literally how television works. If you fund the pilot, you're the EP. Easy. Done.
Oh.
That's it.
Okay. So we already did that.
That's all it is. You're the EP. You fund the pilot, you sell it to the network, you are the EP. That's how that works. And so importing a Canadian, also a good strategy. You know who that worked for? Magnus Walker. Magnus Walker imported a Canadian, Tamir Moscovici, who made that Urban Outlaw thing, and now Magnus Walker is Magnus Walker.
Oh, wow. Worked for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he imported a Canadian. It's key. He came down from Toronto.
A very strong production background up here. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. They film all kind of shit in Vancouver. It's the jam.
Letterkenny is amazing. Your SNL background is strong. You've heard all these cliches. You're like, we do more than that. Go. Is this? Am I being racist towards Canada in a
I'll be
positive
first
light?
to fly the Letterkenny flag. Absolutely.
So good.
I'm jealous. You guys are getting your payouts, right? Aren't you guys getting hooked up from the government right now? Like a little.
Yeah, they're still working it out, but the direct to personal funding came in like 2 days. It was like,
you're kidding.
It was a 2-web-page process.
Brian's
and then 2
face.
days later,
Oh,
they
the
wired it
disgust.
to you.
That's Brian. Our
incredible.
country's fucked, dude. Shit doesn't fucking work. The systems don't work, dude.
Brian looked like he just bit into a burger that was undercooked right after finding out his wife was fucking someone else, and he's just like, yeah.
You're kidding.
It was so good.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's more disappointing after the time I jerked off in the back of in the trunk of my 2000 Dodge Neon at Kevin Ackery's graduation party because the party hit a lull.
The trunk of a Neon.
And every bit of that was true.
I believed it based on how you were looking around to grab the details. How and why?
I have questions, but I don't want the answers. I'm going to find myself in a weird position here.
Fair point.
I live many lives.
I do, but I don't.
You want to watch the BTS of Two Girls, One Cup? Kinda? No?
Yeah, no, I'm totally on board with Ivan and Brian's plan. It's a good plan, actually. How long did it take you to shoot that thing?
Oh my God. I learned we filmed it in August, but we talked about it for like a few months before that. But then after it filmed, it went on for a long time. And before I forget, I have to thank Oliver, the owner of the 89 Westphalia, who kept coming back for reshoots and pickups long after Nick and I just went back to PA.
Oh my God, that sounds annoying as fuck.
That's how you get the good stuff, though. If you see a whole
that picture right there, like when you're showing that picture of me like lying down in the car, they're off doing something else. I'm fucking asleep because when we shoot, when I need to do detail shots, I just switch my Nikon to photo mode. It's like bam, 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 click, 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 click. I'll figure it out later. I took 75 pictures. But thank you so much, Ivan, for doing this. I could have never created something that was literally like a movie quality thing.
It turns out making movies out of movies instead of out of still photographs is a little different.
Yeah.
It turns out. When you have to assemble videos into videos, it's hard. Did you rent a fucking studio?
Ivan, take it away.
Yeah, so for the car shots, we rented a studio for 2 days. And the other studio thing that you'll see in the video at some point, I do have like a 2,000 square foot studio here in Toronto that's unfortunately on the second floor, so I can't drive vehicles into it, but I can build little sets. So the opening scene where you fly into the TV and back out, that was like a fake living room that we created.
Wow.
Oh, cool. Yeah, the opening shot was really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, by the way, if
so
you
this
rent
is obviously
studios,
like extremely
you're the
high
executive
effort YouTube, and we sort of at one point just sort of lost count of days because I realized that we weren't going to rush it and try and get it done in 2 months. This was a back burner project for me, right? Like I still have to pay the bills in the meantime and do client work, and so once we sort of relaxed the delivery timeline, I was able to go, hey, what would be really nice for the intro? Like, how can we illustrate this even better? And okay, let's take a couple weekends and build that living room set. So we kind of just ignored a number of shoot days. I'm going to guess that there was like 4 primary and then 3 or 4 studio days and then a handful of like just me random pickup bits. But
I mean, that's a lot. That's
Yeah.
you want to play that? Play that scene. I didn't see this.
We can't play the scene.
Because it's on YouTube.
It's on there. So the BTS video.
Can we play it like with us in picture or something? So we're like editorializing it or something, and we don't get in trouble. How do we do that?
Well, we just don't show it, but we can talk about it.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, so yeah, so it's all right. So it's a TV screen in a living room, like an old school TV. Cameras looking around the living room. The television is showing what presumably is new footage dropped into the old TV. Oh, cool. You miniaturized this living room set? How big was this little living room of yours?
Well, if you want to jump to the end of that BTS video that I sent you.
Oh, you got it? Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think, hold on.
Building miniature diorama sets is, yeah, there it is. Okay, neat. Dude, building miniature diorama sets? That's awesome. Oh, it wasn't like that small. Like I was expecting it was like life size. Like okay.
Oh
okay,
yeah, that's a real set.
No, I was expecting I don't know, a little box that sat on a table or something, and you moved a little. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, like a tabletop.
But I mean, you guys painted the white black and then had to repaint it, I assume, which that seems like it would take a day in itself.
Well, look, if you apply these guys, fucking crazy writing ethos to, to building sets and doing kind of weird shit like that to get the visuals, I think if someone puts money there, that's a good fucking plan.
Yeah, that sounds fun. This is really cool. I'm excited to watch this after the show.
Yeah. That was the exciting part of the idea, right? Like, the RCR format. They come up with all these super inventive metaphors or similes and even just little sketches, but you're never seeing them. Right.
Yeah.
Like you're listening to this great writing against a backdrop that is completely disconnected. So then what happens when you can layer in on top of that, even if it's high effort, whatever, can you provide even more value to those jokes? Right. Like, can you, just a quick example, like he referenced, some throwaway line later in the script, like, yeah, Birdie would have won, whatever. Hey, that's a fresh Westphalia you got, right? So there's a throwaway line about Bernie. So we printed a Bernie 2016 sticker to put on the back of the van, right? So you're foreshadowing that joke earlier on.
Yeah.
So it's like lots of little visual details that you can sprinkle in through. And so what happens when you wind up illustrating the jokes, not just saying them, right?
Yeah.
They become more effective.
also-
It's good.
But also, I think like in addition to layering in jokes, you can also layer in the sort of narrative of the vehicle itself, in the sense that a lot of what we do is trying to sort of do a profile of the type of people who drive certain types of cars. And of course, we're not always going to hit the mark. Sometimes we're not even going to come close. But I mean, a lot of it is extrapolating from our own personal experiences and, sort of coming to the realization that this could be a sort of crucible for romanticism and nostalgia, but also that sort of like dirty Uncle Pull Tab humor. And so you sort of grind those all up together. And so you get these visuals where if you're talking about like father and son, you actually see a father and son. And then, it's sort of, there's like a progression there of like, okay, you have the man and his son, and then you flash forward and it's Brian and the other guy, which wasn't intended, but that's always how I read it, of like, now Brian's the dad and he's taking his son out in Westphalia and sort of reliving things. And that was just a happy accident. But when I wrote, like, when I was writing the script, that was in my head, or like my half of the script. So it's one of those things where I'm reaching back on all these different memories and recollections of my youth, even though it wasn't in this car. But being in that car, that camper, is very much sort of stirring up those emotions again when you're inside of it, because suddenly it's like being in those old sort of like Chevy GMC like conversion vans. It's that feeling of having an adventure ahead of you, even though the adventure itself is kind of modest.
Yeah.
Right, like the owner of Brian's car after high school had their own adventure, but they didn't know that he jacked off in the trunk of it. So you could build a miniature set and you could film that, and then it's just toilet humor.
And those conversion bands, by the way, I don't know, they're all, where they're all at now, dude? They're all like within half a mile of my house with like surf bums fucking living in them, dude. When I see a GMC Safari now, I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys do have there's a depth to your writing though that
for sure.
I think people, if they don't watch a full video, then they might go, oh, there's like a dick joke or a jack off joke or something else in there.
But it's a good dick joke.
It's a really good dick joke.
Good dick joke.
It is. It usually is. But they'll miss like the nuance and the layers underneath it and like the context of the car and what was happening at the time. And like sometimes you're like, this car came out at this time, which was a depression, which meant that so and so was mad at so and so, and then threw like their roast chicken out the window because it was slightly overcooked. Like it goes. It's such a spiral, but it all like ties back to what happened and why was that car built. It's really good.
Yeah.
Ivan, are you?
Thank you.
Are you bringing a cinematic influence to this as well, or is the cinematography purely in response to the written bits?
Sorry, I don't quite follow.
I mean, like if we were making Parts Unknown, Anthony Bourdain and his editorial team would, if they were going to Italy, they might try and do something that would be referencing Fellini in the artistry of it. But I'm just wondering if you've got those kind of influences in mind, or if you are just reading or listening to the bits that these guys have written and then putting a mental visual to what you're seeing on the page.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, that's what makes Parts Unknown like the best travel show ever made.
Yes,
right?
I know.
And what
We've
what
tried
they'll
to
do is
copy
they'll.
it before.
What's that?
We've tried to copy it before.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah. Well, everybody does. That's like, there are certain shows within genres that everybody wants to do that show. I mean, and within the car genre, it was Top Gear for many years. Right?
Yeah.
So, but back to Parts Unknown, they pull the aesthetic from the content, right? So if they're going to go to Italy, they're going to reference Italian New Wave cinema. And so in this case, we wanted to pull the cinematography cues, the filmmaking cues from the eras, right? So that opening, we start in the 1960s because that's when the story of the Van Again started with the 1950s. But The set was early 1960s. We fly into that TV, and then we pull out of the TV in the same living room. Now we're in the 1980s when we're looking at the T3 van again. And then each of the segments is also the actual filmmaking apparatus is tied to the aesthetic of that era. So for the flashback sequences where we have the father and son going on a fishing trip and going camping, that's all shot with an early 80s Leica lens and an anamorphic adapter in front of it to make it look very, very filmic. And then I post-treated it to look like film, basically. And then another segment we actually shot on Super 8 film. I was holding the little Super 8 camera, shaking out the back of my SUV, trying to film some rolling shots. And that was to tie into the family archival footage that was generously donated by a fan of the show, Brian. So like we're using different mediums. We're using a bunch of different lenses. We're using different techniques to try and best match whatever's going on in the story. Yeah.
Cool. I like the thoughtfulness. Really cool. I hope somebody rewards it.
Can we nerd out just for a minute on what Ivan Verlan did with like all his camera gear? Like, I've never seen this before. I'm used to like handheld stuff. And could you describe like the gear that you had on the front of your SUV as we're getting those, to me almost seems like a love letter to Toronto as we go through those shots?
Yeah, sure. I mean, just on a pure tech level, that was, we did a couple different car rigs. The stuff that rolls underneath the credits at the end was our first car mount test setup. That's using a rig wheels cloud mount, which is like a vibration isolating mount thing that uses magnets to stick to your car. And then onto that, we mounted a Ronin gimbal, the Ronin 2, made by DJI. And then on that gimbal is a red camera with a lightweight zoom lens. And then we did slightly different variation of that to get the rolling shots of the Westphalia itself. So yeah, those photos that you have on screen now, that's that same basic setup, but we used a C300 Mark II camera because it's a little bit lighter weight, and we were going to be taking this on one of our major highways, the Gardner Expressway. It's a beautiful elevated highway. That's the main title shot right after the opening sequence. As the sun's going down, you see the skyline in the background. I've driven the Gardner so many times to and from work, and it's just been this iconic part of Toronto that I've always wanted to capture on film. And why not have a Westphalia in the foreground?
It's a good rig. I like it. You got all the toys going at once. There are many rigs. It's a long way from the shit we used to do. We had some sketchy rigs.
Oh man, Thad sent me a photo today of Tom sitting in the back of the Raptor with the trailer hitch mount. And we used to run that like all over the canyons with no safety. It was a while ago. Safety permit, anything, because we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And wow. Yeah. Just wow.
We built a man-operated crane that you would operate by standing in the bed of a pickup truck that we would be driving in the canyons at speed. It was good.
It was real good.
It was real good.
I have had that same idea. I'm with you on that. I was hanging out of a helicopter with the doors open at one point.
Yeah. Tom Morningstar back in the day operated the sketchiest rigs. Is that it? Oh yeah, Zach, put up the shot. Here's Tom in the back.
I love that.
Yeah.
So shady. Yeah. Don't do that, kids.
Oh, Ivan.
Very dangerous.
Ivan, tell them about like the aeronautical photograph. Were you in a B-17 recently or something like that?
I am not good with airplane names. I'm so sorry. Anybody who's a fan of airplanes is going to send me hate mail. But yeah, it was a World War II Canadian bomber plane that I was in, and I used the same vibration isolation plate to I just sandwiched it between my camera and the tripod. And that took care of a bunch of the wobble. And I was doing a telephoto flying shot of a Lancaster bomber on a 200 millimeter lens.
Wow.
And it worked a charm.
Super stabilized. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you have to do some post stabilizing, but it was pretty wild. The engine is just so loud. Everything's so shaking like crazy. I thought there was no way we could actually do air to air like that. But it worked.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Matt, you've been taking flying lessons recently, haven't you?
I took one. The problem with flying lessons is my wife got me one for my birthday, and I did enjoy it. But at the end of one, he goes, "Okay." I go, "All right. Well, what's the next thing?" And he goes, "Well, you start going to school." And I go, "So what's that about?" And they go, "Yeah, it's a weekend, every weekend for a year, and it's like $30,000." And I was like, "That's the next thing?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's pretty much it. So you do it once, and then you either become like a pro, and really, really go hard at the paint, or that's just sort of it." And I decided that I would rather than spend all that money and time doing that I would join the sailing club in LA and charter yachts.
For like a few $100.
Already knew how to sail. The yachts were there, and it's on my time. So it worked out well. It worked out because we went to Tahiti too and chartered yachts, and the timing was good because we got home and now we can't go fucking anywhere. So it worked out for us that we got that one in at exactly the right time.
It's like skydiving. Like I went and did tandem, and I'm like, well, they're like, "You like this, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And like, well, call this number. You go there 6 times. You pay $2,000, and then you're certified.
Yeah.
But there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
There's no second flying lesson for fun.
Right.
It gets very serious.
Yeah. I mean, you could, as a student, like pay a pilot to take you up in their plane and let you fly under their supervision. I suppose indefinitely if you really wanted to, but
Indefinitely.
I mean, it doesn't seem
Take me up for 20 hours.
Doesn't seem that rewarding.
Don't look back.
No, it seems a little dull. Yeah, I don't know. You guys,
What kind of sailing do you guys do?
The big fuckers, the big fuckers. I grew up sailing, little dinghy sailing, dinghy racing, lasers and Blue Jays and 420s and stuff. Are you a sailor, Ivan?
I briefly sailed. I did some albacore race training.
What's an albacore? Is that a type of sailboat?
It's like a laser.
Oh,
yeah.
cool. I'd like to.
Yeah.
Are they
lightweight?
fun?
They're super fun. I did it for a couple seasons, but I kind of sucked. So,
dinghy sailing is kind of a dead end sport if you're not an Olympic sailor. You got to go up. You graduate to big boats. I eventually graduated towards bigger boats, and now I fuck around. But I'm a skipper, so I can charter boats up to like 80 feet. And so we chartered a 50-foot catamaran in the Caribbean. Jesus Christ, I'm retarded. In Tahiti, and it was amazing. And I cannot recommend that highly.
Highly recommend, Ivan. If you have a sailing license or close to it, you can go down there and like captain a ship, and you and a bunch of friends can go, and it is not expensive for the quality of vacation you get.
It's the best.
For real.
We should have fucking stayed.
We should have. We had no idea.
The writing was on the wall, man. We could have stayed.
Yeah.
Zach, I think we had a lot of questions from people. Should we get through some of them? Do we have regular cars specific questions, or are they like, is it what sports car should I buy for $20,000 questions?
We have a mixed bag. I haven't really siphoned through them a little bit.
If there's any for me, I would happily answer them.
Let's focus on the regular car reviews ones, and we can get to other ones.
Oh, this person
later.
is very clever because they said, "This is a question for Mr. Regular: slightly used Huracan Performante or new 9912 GT3 for $200,000," which is really
buy a house. Buy a fucking house.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah, it's a different type of question we get on this show.
I can educate you about classic Hondas and Toyotas. Performante?
I think your answer was great.
Do you walk around with like 2 socks in the front of your pants? What's wrong with you?
I do have a friend in LA who does daily drive a Performante, actually, but he's a musician. He plays in a what do you call it, that band? His name's Misha. He plays in a band called Periphery, which is like a metal-ish band. It's like, oh God, what's the fucking genre? It's like nerd metal. It's like
metal.
It's like math metal. You know what I'm talking about?
I've heard them.
Like Dream Theater. It's like that kind of metal.
Oh,
prog metal.
I love Dream Theater.
It's like that. Check out Periphery. But he daily drives a Performante. He's a chill guy.
It'd be a fun time.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. It'd be a fun 6 months. All right, back to you. Oops. Someone says they've been listening to the House of Brown VW specialist. Well, we're listening live. Oh, he works at the House of Brown. Have any of us driven an Audi S1?
I have not.
No.
Only an A4.
Okay.
I have not.
The house. Shout out though to the House of Brown, like whatever the fuck that place is.
VW
like,
specialist.
It's a VW specialist, just called the House of Brown.
Yeah.
I love it. Like there's a place we just walked by it today in Culver City. That's a 4x4 place called Dirty Parts, and my wife just was like, "Dirty Parts!" Ah.
It's right near my house.
We see it is right by our house.
Yeah.
We see it. We see it all the time. It's a fucking great name. For
Yeah,
the
it
shop.
is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's keep your theme
Before I
of angry
forget.
honesty. Yeah.
I need to thank Matt for his daily or almost daily cat Instagram posts. They make me feel wonderful. Please keep them coming. They're a source of like small amount of joy that because I miss my cat that my family had. So I love seeing pictures of Conrad and all of them going around.
I can't help
it's great
myself.
stuff.
I'm happy to do it. It's my pleasure. My cats are hilarious, and it's like having a reality show in my house all the time. So I'm glad other people are entertained by it.
Oh yeah.
What was that, Zach?
I like the Mr. Regular honesty for these questions because there's more car buying questions aimed at you guys, which is going to be fun. So just keep the like brutal gut reaction. He loves your new style. Should he sell his supercharged MR2 and get a Lotus Elise, or keep the MR2?
Oh, that is a really good question. The supercharged AW11 is the pinnacle of them. They do have rust issues underneath the stock body, or actually the under. What am I talking about?
Chassis.
Like ground effects. It's this fake spoiler ground.
Oh yeah, side
splitter
skirts. This thing.
Yeah.
The yeah.
Yeah. A Lotus Elise will be able to be resold anytime, any place, anywhere. MR2s are a little bit weirder. If you want to get noticed and have a delightful time machine to like make mixtapes and stuff like that and listen to them, I think a supercharged AW11 is definitely good. I wouldn't want to work on one of those things. Vacuum lines galore in that. You also have an ECU that's a ColecoVision. And then, but a Lotus Elise is just like two Miatas merged into like one in terms of power, which would be
An Elise
better.
is a $25,000 car forever if one of the clamshells isn't cracked.
Oh, really?
Well, if the clamshell's cracked, you want to fix it, you have to replace the entire clamshell. It's very expensive. If not, it's like they're 25 to 30 grand forever.
You know, one of the guys who appears in the pitch pilot we shot in the commercial, I got to give a shout out to his Instagram page, Tony Airlines. He's an airline captain, I should say. Whenever we come back to do this in person, I'd love to bring him along because he is one of the most interesting people you'll meet. He made captain at age 27. You talk to him and he sounds.
I'm
like
looking at his
he's
Instagram right now.
49 years old.
He looks like a child.
You're looking at him right now?
This is his Instagram. He looks like a
Look
child.
at that! Look at Tony.
Yeah, he looks like a child.
He can't grow facial hair. It's just he's got a baby face, and like he tells me stories like now the captain always stands at the front of the airplane when you walk off, and people like do this double take. And I'm like, did you just fly this? I'm like, yes, I'm a pilot. I'm like, are you 9? And then he just goes off. But there's a directly above me and him in the cockpit. After hanging out with me, he wanted to buy an enthusiast car, something to have fun with. And the answer was Miata. He never drove stick before. So I'm like, okay, well, Miata's your answer, or an old Corolla or something to teach yourself stick. And he goes, yeah. He calls me back a week later and he says, hey, I bought a car, my first stick shift car. And I'm like, oh, what'd you buy? I found an importer, bought a 93 Honda Beat.
Oh, cool. Oh, is that it in the picture?
Yeah,
fun.
wow. Nice blue.
It's got a little body kit on it. It's a good color.
It does. It's completely, the underside is completely built.
I hope he's small. I tried to sit in one of those once. They are fucking tiny. They're so little.
They can fit in
and
Miatas.
that thing has bride seats in it.
Oh.
Which are even tighter. And then we find out the engine was completely rebuilt at 30,000 miles. And they're like, why? Well, it turns out back in Japan, that particular car, they were autocrossing it or whatever their equivalent is. It's probably the exact same thing. So it just got hot, and then they did work to it, and then it ended up on a boat, and now it's in Jersey.
Nice. Looks fun.
So they had to the exhaust has a completely new exhaust header wrapped, and then there were all these extra, and I don't know the correct term for it. It's whatever the JDM equivalent of J.C. Whitney nonsense is, or as Zach put it one time, the Pep Boys greatest hits.
Oh yeah, just shit glued onto the
accessories on the inside.
Yeah. People just glue shit to their cars over there. It's weird.
Yeah, you buy like Skittles, and next to Skittles by the register, it's like, do you also want the Buick holes?
Yeah,
like throw those in there.
Yeah. You got to get rid of all that. Once you get rid of all that, the car's fine. My Delica, when the importer got it, it had like an old TV on the dash. It was fucking ridiculous.
CRT?
Yeah, a CRT TV on the dashboard. Yeah. It doesn't anymore.
Like 3M tape to it?
No, it had a hole. There's still holes.
Wow.
There's 2 holes drilled in the dashboard still. Yeah. It's unfortunate mark and otherwise very nice Japanese van. I cannot recommend
driving the Delica around?
In the last couple of weeks, I've had press cars, but we probably put 5,000 kilometers on it since we bought it. Yeah. The answer to that is yes. We have been driving it, and it's fucking great. I just installed the battery tender on it, so it doesn't die. I'm very happy.
Sweet.
I did a thing that worked with electricity, and I didn't shock myself. So that's nice. Small victories.
Electricity is terrifying.
Yeah.
Zilwi says he keeps hearing about how the ZF is the best non-dual clutch auto transmission. Why is there always a caveat when FCA uses it in their cars?
Because FCA licenses the ZF design and then builds the transmissions in-house, whereas the Germans just buy the transmissions from ZF, who builds them. So that's why.
All right. Shin Goose just says he's a big fan of RCR, and he redlined his car many times to get home to watch your premiere. So shout out to Shin Goose. Kasparis has a 94 MR2 with a Caldina turbo swap.
Oh, those are good. That is a good swap. I've driven a couple of them. That is the right swap for that car if you can get it legal in whatever state you're in.
Okay, so he says it handles great and it's fast. He eventually wants to get in a Cayman 987, but does he need to if he already has this thing?
I mean, yeah, because there's more to owning a Porsche than it being mid-engined. You know what I mean? You're talking about a 30-year-old Toyota versus a 10 or 7-year-old Porsche. It's a much higher quality item just to be using. That's all. But you can get pretty close. I mean, you go watch one of my videos from back in the day of that Caldina swap. One kid, I had one that was set up like incredible, and it was fucking fast, and it was really, really nice. I mean, a Porsche is obviously still a nicer thing, but you can make them things go, stop, and turn. Yeah,
it's like if he likes the dynamics of that car, he'll probably enjoy the Cayman. It'll just be a nicer experience.
Just a nicer thing. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I don't know why I sounded so Guido when I said that.
Yeah, you know, it's just like a better thing.
Take me off this shot. I keep fucking looking at myself here. Let's look at somebody more interesting than me. Like Brian. There we go.
Look at Brian. Brian's got a nice grin going. Wyatt says he liked your special a lot. Wishes you guys the best. Any interesting or weird cars you have picked out in the Detroit area?
Have I a bunch of stuff in the Detroit area?
I guess, yeah. I guess did you guys go there recently?
No, I'm sorry to say I've never been to Detroit. It was on the schedule this month. I was supposed to be there the first weekend of this month, but oh well.
Usually I'd say it'll still be there, but with Detroit, we can never really be certain it'll still be there.
Yeah, we're coming up on RoboCop times.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude, how fucked up is it that we're getting awful close to a Demolition Man reality? You can't touch people
don't
anymore.
They already have the combination Taco Bell, KFC, or whatever it is from Demolition Man.
Well, they run the restaurant. They win the restaurant wars, and so all restaurants are Taco Bell. If all the mom and pop shops go out of fucking business, all restaurants might be Taco Bell.
Strangely enough, Taco Bell was the first
I'm gonna have to buy
restaurant that blows up. It's weird.
Strangely enough, what?
No, Taco Bell was the first fast food restaurant to cease dine-in options once all this shit started happening.
Well, they figured any opportunity to keep the customers further away from the kitchen, the better. Don't let them see the meat hose, guys.
Everyone's saving money on bathroom maintenance. That's what I think. All right, let's go back to question.
Yeah, the seashells only came up when they ran out of toilet paper because they all panicked.
Shit! And everyone just ran to the ocean.
Can you guys buy toilet paper in Pennsylvania?
My grocery store is out of it. It's been out of it all month long. I am not worried because I bought one of those Amazon butt cleaners. Total game changer. I am still on my original roll when the quarantine started.
Good for
now,
you.
I got some got some packs of One Wipe Charlies, so I'm kind of cheating that way.
No, but I like that you exited the TP ecosystem. That's good. You're just like, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah, technology saves the day.
Yeah. And to be fair, if you run out of toilet paper, the quickest and path of least resistance is to just get hemorrhoidal wipes. By orders of magnitude, they're better than toilet paper in every actionable way, except unless you want to vandalize someone's house. Then they're not better. But, it keeps your ass feeling tip-top magoo.
That's a good tip.
I wonder if one wipe Charlies are just white labeled hemorrhoid wipes, and they just like charge 50 cents more or something like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is a really good question from Kevin. Do we know of any insurance companies that offer a policy that combines track day coverage with daily coverage? It's like a general track question.
That's a good
I believe
question.
the answer is no.
I don't think there are. I think the track day policies are totally separate, and you get them like either a day at a time or like in a block.
Yeah.
I think when Larry Casilla, my friend from Ammo, he gets a season. He gets the whole season, and it's like up to 20 days whenever he wants throughout the season. And it's not cheap, but it's a separate policy from his streetcar policy. Has nothing to do with driving the car on the street at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's challenging.
Yeah.
Someone asked, why has no one done the cannonball in a diesel A8?
I mean, someone just did it in a fucking gas A8.
Right.
Like, I don't see how the diesel is demonstrably better if you're strapping 65 gallons of fuel in the trunk.
Yeah, you're probably still going to have to stop for fuel anyway, at least once. So, I don't know. Cars are getting so efficient. Like, it's not important.
I also think that the diesel is not particularly fast above like 120. Diesels kind of die out up there, and you may want the gasoline performance power band.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Let's see. How's everyone doing? Eric is just stuck at work and says hello. James Broyles is currently in a Fiesta ST. He's considering switching to a 2017 340 xDrive or a 2018 STI. What would he be missing if he got rid of the Fist?
Fun and feel.
Yep.
You'd be missing everything good about cars.
Yeah. It's such a bummer, but it's so true. Yeah, that's the answer.
Yeah.
Brian, you guys, how do you guys feel about slammed cars or VIP cars? Have you guys filmed one before?
No, but one came to our car meets, and a friend of mine had an S13 that was done up with the SR20 swap in it, who worked for a company who did make VIP interiors.
Oh,
Slammed
the T-trays and the curtains and the pillows and shit?
Yeah, like you have some 240 SX with some champagne holders in there.
I love it. I like that stuff. I think that stuff is funny.
It is. I think now I'm coming from a place where, you get the freeze and the thaw every year, so the roads get crazy potholes in it. And there's this recycling reunion, or if it could be a TV, that would be a lovely TV show, but you would need to have like webcams on every corner to just see everybody who gets a WRX and puts a body kit on it that first spring after the winter when they bring their cars out, and suddenly the small potholes became big potholes, and all those fiberglass splitters just go and of course they lowered their car. They probably didn't do anything to the they got smaller springs, but they're not progressive springs, so the car still slams home. and that's it.
A montage of like exploding and shredding fiberglass splitters. It's so awesome. It's like,
what did Freddie say that the 4GT clutch like it bird nests? I like that term a lot.
Yeah.
Like fiberglass does that, just bird nest.
I guess I like VIPs more because you haven't mentioned have you altered the ride height or not. So
and a VIP, I thought that's a given.
At least a little bit for sure.
Really?
VIP cars, their
Not as much
fucking
as
wheels
slam.
are like 45-degree camber. That's what a VIP goes.
I think they're really cool.
Right.
There's something, they just look like they're not trying to race. They're not trying to win the parking lot in terms of like, look how fast I could theoretically go, which a lot of people are.
Yeah. They're
just like, hey, I'm just comfortable. Yeah, I know I have an airbag and I have a bunch of ceramic cups in front of the airbag. I don't give a shit because I'm going 12 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So dangerous.
Yeah.
Ramon asked if we miss making higher production videos, Matt.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. But the business model just doesn't demand it. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, I think of the 100 quote higher production videos we ever made, I think we made a profit on maybe 3 or 4. Great, you know.
I will say,
yes.
oh, sorry. I just wanted to say that before I got my Mustang, I was actually looking at different options, and one of them was an old Toyota Tercel that was in my area, strictly because of all cars go to heaven. That being like the
that
only
Tercel?
car that survived. Well, not that specific Tercel.
No, yeah,
I
but
mean, like,
that
the
it was like an
idea.
87 Tercel coupe, unkillable, absolutely unkillable.
Yeah, and I wanted something that would, live forever, I suppose, or outlive me.
I bet that fucking Tercel is still alive. The one that we couldn't kill.
That car's great.
Yeah.
I understand, Nick. I would want to buy one of these too, just because, I mean, after the story, you're like, unkillable.
It weighed like 1,800 pounds.
So
It
light,
weighed
so fun.
nothing.
But man, if you had to go up a hill, well, you'll get there. As long as you open the hood and put a log in there.
Yeah, we opened the hood and propped a log in there to keep some more air going.
Yeah, that was
going
our
into
ram air
was it
intake.
carburetor? It was a carburetor, wasn't it? Yeah.
Took the limiter off, let the dragon breathe a little bit more. Ain't exactly legal because I cut the tree down for it.
Oh, fucking Tercel was
Zachary
so good.
Levin says, hey, Matt, he started a car club at his high school because there was no club there. He just loves your videos and podcasts. Keep up the good work. That's really cool.
Thank you, and continue
Good
your
job.
car club.
Nice work.
Good job. I had a car club in high school too. I didn't really run it like Larry kind of did. They were all Mustangs. It was all 5.0s. There were 5 of us. They let us park right up front.
Nice.
It was cool.
Just burnouts all the time.
We didn't really
cool.
do the burnouts at the school. We did the burnouts later over on the side. There was a car gang before us, but they were super Guido-y. Super Guido-y.
What did they drive?
Eclipse Spider.
Oh, wow. Why?
A 318 IS coupe on the sport package, so it looked like really dumb. It was the 18 convertible and coupe, and then an Eclipse Spider, all brand new.
Wow.
Yeah, they were Guidos. Big gaudy hair.
I was in a classic car club. Was ran out of a garage, and then like 3 of the guys ended up going to jail 3 years later. It was like, I got there, I was like, oh cool, high school car club, but it's like from a bunch of different schools, right? And it was like, that guy's 30, that guy's 35, that guy's 17, that guy looks 30 but he's 16, and then we just drove around, wrenched on cars, and drag raced for a while, and then people got in trouble. All right, Philip Hand says, Matt, pull some strings and get Brian and Nick on Joe Rogan.
I can't pull those strings.
I know.
Every time I've attempted to pull those strings, I get met with silence. Joe gets my texts when they come in. Some he responds to, and others he doesn't, and he makes a point with either.
Very good point. He'll find you.
Joe follows me on Twitter, so
Because you're funny as fuck. His show is out of control. His show is moving elections now. It's too much.
Yeah, no
He's
kidding.
It is too
he's
much.
fucking freaked out. He can't even express a thought without the 45-second thought being turned into an 8-second sentence, and then him
That
going.
sucks,
Yeah,
That
what he said
sucks.
after he talked about burning off the phone and called his friend, he's like, what did I just do?
Bro, I saw him at the Comedy Store 2 nights later, and he was like fucking shook. He was like, "This is so crazy." Like, he goes, "I can't do this shit no more."
Oh my God.
It's like no more politicians.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good,
I mean, that was
powerful.
always going to be a kind of a hot button topic anyway. I mean, I kind of like the ones. I kind of like it just being like scientists, comedians, and fighters. And all this. I would love if he had Dana White on to actually talk about if he actually really tried to buy a private island to have his own. Like he's Shao Kahn and he's going to be lording over these fights. That would have been insane, but also very much on brand.
Wait, what was he gonna say?
Did Dana White try to buy a private island to have UFC on the private island that's like not in a country?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the rule was that he was going to have it in California at first, and then he actually was looking into getting this private island. And I'm thinking, like, okay, what commission is lording over this private island?
I don't know. I think if you're a private island, at a certain point you do the fuck you want. If it's the right private island.
Depends on where it is, I'm sure. Yeah.
Like everybody else.
Wow. That'd be amazing.
Yes, he should definitely ask Dana White about that. I'm sure he does. They probably have a side conversation about that later.
Well, remember when we went sailing, the number of islands they pointed out on the map, they're like, that one's private, that one's private, that one's private, that one, you can't go there, can't go there. It's like,
hundreds of them.
What happens there?
Yeah.
Like, some are hotels, and then they just end the sentence.
Yeah, if you go to Tahiti, there's lots of private islands you can buy, and you can do basically whatever the fuck you want on them.
Some are not hotels.
Yeah.
Thanks for the entertainment from Canada. Should someone get a used R8 V8 or a new C8?
Ooh, that's a good question. A used R8 V8 or a new. I'd say if it's a stick, maybe the R8. Otherwise, the Vet.
Yeah.
I'm driving a customer Vet on Thursday, not a press car. So, like, I drove the press car and had thoughts. That was 6 months ago or whatever it was. And it's with a Corvette. It's always like, well, let's see what the customers are getting. And so I got a customer car I'm driving on Thursday. So we'll see.
Be like, did it come with both doors? Be like, nope.
Have you guys driven a C8 yet?
Have not. Nope.
Have not.
Someone's got to get
We
you
rely
one.
on fans to get our cars, so haven't done it yet.
You'll probably have
maybe
one soon. They're starting to deliver the cars, now. I'm sure you'll have one pretty soon.
You guys do something great.
You know what?
The domestic Gallardo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You know what car that is now my unicorn to try to find is the Dodge Neon American Club Racer from 1999.
Oh yeah,
where they
there's
made it
not a lot of
2
those
years.
around.
Yeah. Best engine, best suspension, completely stripped out interiors. They were made to be destroyed on tracks, and a few of them survived.
There's not a lot of those left. Jack Baruth had one of those and did actually race it on racetracks, and successfully. I think he won quite a few races.
Oh, they made it in 94?
Yeah.
Wow, that was around. Wait, but that's a four-door. I thought there were only two.
No, there was a four-door one also. They came in two-door and four-door.
And then here's the two-door, which
two-door.
Does not
That's
look
a
as
96.
good. Yeah.
I feel so weird. I wonder what this is like to be a guy in his 60s who really has emotional thoughts about the Ford Pinto, because I know it's a crap car, but that's me in high school. A friend of mine had the espresso version of that.
The espresso, yeah.
And it was written in teal, and it's a script font on the back.
Yeah.
Shout out to my friend Eric
The Neon
Hunsinger, who had
really
one of
embraced
those
90s colors in the beginning with the teal badges and stuff. The oh fuck, I just lost my thought. Wait, Neon espresso. Yeah. Yep, it'll come back later.
I mean, that was like the domestic Civic
consequence.
SI, right? Like, if it drives and handles well, you can race it, go for it. It doesn't look like anything, but
They really don't look like anything.
They're pretty
the
bad.
chassis were good, actually. They're supposedly very quick. They're pretty terrible though. They're also pretty terrible.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the guy I got the thought I had. There's a guy who me and Tom interviewed for like a side hustle corporate gig who was in, I want to say he was in Queens somewhere, and he was the president of the Chevy Vega fan club. And he also, if you want to talk about that 60-year-old white guy who's weird, who's into weird, like not good, like the Pinto, he's Vega. Go to the Chevy Vega Wikipedia page, Zach, because this guy wrote it himself. Okay, and it is the look at how thorough the Chevy Vega Wikipedia page is, written by this one dude. It is enormous. It has so many sections and is so fucking thorough. And it's enormous. It's probably like 15,000 words on the Chevy Vega.
Wow,
It's so nerdy. And I met this guy, and he had a garage. He opens up his garage, and he had 2 Vegas in there. He had a regular one and then the Cosworth one.
Well, one's my daily and one's my retirement.
They were both like mint. He just like rubbed them with a diaper like fucking Cameron's dad in Ferris Bueller.
This is a weird looking car. I mean, this seems
if you want
perfect.
a story, go look at the citations. Look how many references there are. It's like 85 references.
God, it's like the back of Sapiens or something like that.
Go find that. You want to fucking burn some production cash on a super nerd? Here is your guy.
This is like, you know what I always thought about the second generation of Camaro? Too gorgeous. I like the elements, but I want to just dumb it down a little bit. God, it's just it's only made for Australian burnout contests, I think.
Yeah. Anything else, Zach?
Yeah, this is for the guys. Now that you've driven all of the ABC cars, which one would you have? The AZ1, the Beat, or the Cappuccino?
The AZ1 is out because it's so claustrophobic inside. You have to have the air conditioning working in that and running because there's just no ventilation inside to make it livable. The AZ1 is fun to park and fun to be seen standing next to, but as far as actual driving, it's not that great. Cappuccino, I did drive a Cappuccino with a built engine that was making, and get this, 127 horsepower.
That's a shitload in a Cappuccino. It's probably so fun.
That thing was quick.
Yeah,
that thing was sick. I drove that in Cincinnati when I was visiting another YouTuber who, if God willing, if like RCR, it probably wouldn't even be called regular car reviews. I think Ivan just said shorten it to regular cars if it got picked up on some streaming service. Shout out to his channel. It's called Adler the Eagle. He does animations. He's very, very talented. He's just getting started.
Wait, is that you? Adler the Eagle? That's Ivan?
No, that's not Ivan.
Oh, okay. For a second, yeah, no. Adler the Eagle is a guy who dresses up as an eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
He does animations as well.
Yeah.
He said he's not a car guy, but he drives a Mini Cooper 6-speed. So whatever. He helped me out on that. But the guy came by. Since Nick didn't come along for that shoot, I just called him and said, "Yeah, sure, come by." And we're driving this Cappuccino, and I didn't know how much was done to it. That it had forged internals, and it was about at the point where that little transmission was about to break. So this thing accelerated about as 127. That's about what a Miata NA makes. Or did they make 118? Anyway, it took a second or two to get on boost, but then it did. You had, what is that? I forget what they revved to, 8,500 or something. The band of what that, and it had a larger turbo, of course, had to work with was divine. I didn't want to get out of it. So to answer this guy's question, the Honda Beat handles better and it's simpler and it has individual throttle bodies, but Cappuccino with a turbo with an extra tune and everything on, that's not the right answer, because normally when people ask these questions, they want apples to apples. Fuck it.
No, they don't. They want you to validate what they already think. That's what they don't actually want the answers.
My answer is Cappuccino. It's the best.
The Cappuccino drives the best, but the AZ1 is the weirdest. And if you're going to go weird, you should go weirdest. I wanted an AZ1 after
But the AZ1 doesn't even have a glove box. It has a bag behind the seat.
Hey, man, neither do like new Aston Martins.
Yeah.
And,
who fucking cares? It has a glove box. I ain't buying an AZ1.
the new Miata. New Miata doesn't have a glove box. It's got one in the center console over your shoulder.
An AZ1 is the perfect car to take to the bar in LA. Because you just park it anywhere and everyone thinks you're funny and cute and not pretentious.
Good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. 2011 to 14 Dodge Charger, the official car of what?
Gotta go home and visit the little lady. That's what I call my wife. We're in a
civil marriage. I don't really feel like signing the paperwork, but my name's Mark.
In LA,
What year again?
11 to 14. In LA, that's the official car of like, hey, Holmes, my dad is in jail at Chino, but I'm doing okay. My lady just moved in, she's doing all right. That's that guy. That's that guy in LA.
Because I did a road trip yesterday very slowly.
Yeah.
So I saw everyone who passed me was passing me by quite a bit. People driving Dodge Chargers are racing each other all the time.
Yes.
Dude, there were packs like literally
the Dodge Charger highway is your Talladega.
That's good. It's ridiculous.
Dodge Charger, my jorts will never end.
Propelled by vape smoke,
yes.
Monster Energy, and alimony.
Do you have... Are you wearing jorts and are your sneakers unevenly worn to the outside?
I have a collection of keychain tassels. I used to drive a used Subaru.
Do you know where I can buy Turkish towels?
God, and those cars are fun. I like them, but man.
Facebook Marketplace, here's your car.
I know what I have. It has to be like a Rumblebee Scat Pack Daytona. You have to get every special edition piled up. All of them.
Bigger the rims, the faster they were driving. I was like, you guys, you built a crossover by accident and you're fucking hauling ass.
You know what I love seeing is like a Charger on like 24s where like one of them's kind of out of balance and just real vibrating. And especially when they're really chromy too, because it's like a shaky disco ball.
You're causing
mirror.
blindness.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I need those chrome wheels on that car to have a little bit of extra brake dust where they didn't quite get it. They like wiped down the spokes, but they forgot the other one. So there's every now and again there's just some gray streaks on those.
Here in they might do it in New York, but it's a very LA thing that you can rent rims here. You can rent rims in LA. Like literally, you can show up to a place with your car and you go, I want 22s on my car and I want to rent them, not buy them. Mm-hmm. It's a thing you can do.
Wow.
Dude, it makes sense. It makes so much sense.
I know. The priorities and the customers are in line.
You know what? I hope there's a customer out there who's actually a very wise person and they're like, look, when I go to the club, people respond to these, but man, do they drive like shit. So, that person...
They rent by the day.
They rent by the day because they're smart. They're calculated. Like, no, I like ride comfort, but I know what hoes like.
What if they meet a girl? Now they have to keep renting them because they think...
And there you go.
think they're...
That's the slippery slope.
Yeah.
Should Will get a ZX2 or an EG Civic?
Oh,
Civic.
a Ford Escort ZX2 or Civic? Yeah, absolutely Civic.
Yeah.
Yeah, ZX2s are only good compared to regular Escorts. And even if you're thinking that, you shouldn't get an Escort. You should get a Probe GT.
Yeah. Totally.
It's a good looking car.
Yeah, with a KLZE or whatever, that little tiny Mazda V6 thing that revs to 1 million is in there.
It's a guy in my neighborhood who used to crew for IndyCar, and he had a red Ford Probe. And I went to his house. I played soccer as a kid. I was like, "What's your dad doing next to these race cars?" He's like, "He does crew for them sometimes." Like, what? Just didn't know.
And it's good enough for him.
All right, the last couple are kind of quick. Why is nobody throwing turbos on a GM 8-liter 496 truck motor? Seems like a good roll racing swap. That's a question from Canada. They gave a good donation. We're hitting the question.
Is that Ivan?
I think the question should go to Ivan or Nick, just because I want to see what they say. Throw them curveballs.
Because you got to believe in yourself first. You gotta...
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
GM 8-liter.
Yeah, 8.1.
What is that block?
496 truck motor? I don't know.
Like, is that a current engine? Like an old engine? It's an old engine, right? They don't make an 8-liter engine right now, do they?
It's a Vortec L18.
I don't know my GM.
They make a fucking 8-liter Vortec right now? No.
Jeez, yeah. They. How old is this?
Is that like a dump truck or something?
It's a gas engine 8-liter.
Wow. I've never heard of this before. This is a thing.
I've never heard of this either.
Okay.
Wait, this might be brand new. And I remember when I saw it came out, I was like, why are we still doing this when we have turbo diesels? Just because I prefer a turbo diesel. But
what's that power and torque curve you got there, Zach? Up there, he's got a little horsepower graph he's pulled up. Does that say something? Does that say something?
Oh, this is 06.
Oh.
320 horsepower. Look at the times we live in. This is an 8-liter engine, and it's like we make 320 horsepower and 440 foot-pounds of torque, and now it's like we have 1.6
that sounds like
liter
a fucking
turbos that make
RV
that.
motor. I mean, if you took that
is.
motor apart and turned down the compression and put what light bulb, Brian? What do you got?
Yeah, that RV stuff is like my friend Justin Kramer from the YouTube channel Fuel Injection Sucks. They made a whole thing where they turbo LS swapped a Winnebago.
Oh, I just saw that video floating around.
He got raked. Like the Mopar people were exploding that he ditched the 440 in there.
Are you fucking kidding me? The Mopar people are claiming Winnebago like that shit matters. Eat a dick.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's like technically, yes, more horsepower. But when you think about like what an 8-liter GM, they were never intended to take forced induction. The internals just can't take that. The block probably can't even take that. So if you're talking about an 8-liter that was made in 1972, you're gonna, as my friend Matt Happel says, if you're going to put a Hong Kong Hurricane on one of those things, you're just going to blow everything.
Hong Kong Hurricane.
eBay turbocharger.
That's a good. That'd be a great name for a website or an Instagram. Hong Kong Hurricane.
No.
I was looking up time-lapse tutorials last night because I was trying to work on something, and so I just punched into Google, and the top result, because they pay the SEO, was pro-lapse.com, and I was like, if you Google ProLapse, you are not always getting photography stuff. Like, you are not.
Oh wait, pro-lapse.
And I was like, I'm looking for a time lapse, but man, that was.
Yeah, it's a fine line between clever and stupid.
Flashback to '96, guy's like, I got this domain, I'm really excited about it, buying it, and then 10 years later, he's like, it's a what now?
Prolapse.com.
What's a Pornhub app? Unfortunate.
That's awesome.
All right. Why do we think Utes never took off outside Australia and New Zealand? Brian, you raise your hand first. Go for you. Yeah.
Because in the United States, from working a little bit of construction, everything is done in 8-foot. All materials are done in 8-foot sections in the U.S. Like, if you have a bed that isn't 8 feet, what you have is a lifestyle truck. It can't actually put building materials in there. So every now and again, you think you're going to bring something around, but it's like having a Ranger or a Tacoma. Yes, it's a pickup, but it's a non-standard bed size. So all it can really be used for recreational purposes or maybe landscaping, where your materials are just stuff that's put in. It's not sheetrock. It's not drywall.
That's fair. That's a very good scientific assessment. Yeah. I would say it's harder to measure your penis with something that's the size of a car than with something that's the size of a school bus.
Yeah. You know what? A car, I never thought about it for a long time, and now I can't stop seeing them. It's when Ford they took the Explorer and made that truck out of it.
Yeah. The sport track?
That is a Ute.
Yeah, the sport track.
When I was in South Africa, when I was in New Zealand, that is a Ute that everybody drives, like a small crew cab with a small bed on the back.
Yeah, they're popular, like a crew cab Tacoma, crew cab, or a Hilux or whatever down there. Same kind of deal.
Yeah.
Would it have something to do with our collective obsession with always being higher than the other person on the road?
Yes, that too. Both in drug use and in ride height. Or is that that's not you guys too? Just me? Okay, cool. Just checking.
Are the weed stores essential
yes.
Businesses in California?
100% they are. Absolutely. Essential in our economy, essential in our hearts and in our minds. And actually the wholesale market is flourishing as well, because even people who don't want to go. Actually, I have to be honest, the ganja store is far and away the most is precautious a word? I don't know if that's a word, but they take your temperature before you go in. They laser temperature you, and they have like really restrictive social distancing measures in place that are it's probably one of the cleanest places you could go in. Compared to a fucking CVS or something like that, it's like a hospital in the weed store.
Wow.
Yeah. And delivery services are flourishing.
Yes, they
as
are.
you can imagine.
Doing very well.
Yeah. They're basically unregulated.
Last question is, this person is looking for a large, newer car that will replace his current 98 Grand Marquis. It's got 260,000 miles, says it runs great.
Replacing a Grand Marquis.
Tough order, man.
Lexus LS.
Do you have a budget?
No budget posted. I don't know, probably what, 5 to 10? If you're driving a Grand Marquis with 260,000 miles on the clock?
I would say find the cleanest, newest Lexus LS, probably 430 that you can find.
Yeah.
Maybe 400, but probably a 430. They're just fucking sweet. They work. They're comfy. What say you guys?
If you had a budget, a good budget, my first answer would have been Chevy SS, and I put some fun in your life. But I'm with you that he's probably on something limited. So if he wants something comfortable and big, I'm going to ask him to downsize. And hear me out on this. Toyota Cressida.
Oh shit, that's old school. That's pretty old school.
Yeah.
You think he wants
I'm asking him to go back.
You want to find a clean, daily drivable Cressida. Alrighty then. Hope you're okay driving on the right-hand side of the car, getting that shit out of Japan.
Hey, maybe that could be.
Well, if you really want to save money and you want something fucking dope that has character and is fun to drive and probably works pretty good, and asterisk, you got to drive on the other side of the car. If you're willing to do that, the world is your oyster. You can get all kind of cool shit. A Toyota Celsior, from out of Japan.
For a more plain option, I'd just say go with the Avalon, right?
Oh,
it's
yeah,
the LS,
the Avalon.
But it's like it's an LS on a budget, right? So you can go a little bit newer, lower miles, and you get most of the comfort.
Yeah, and then even I drove the new ES like last year. The new ES was like real comfy.
Yeah, you liked it a lot.
I liked the new ES like a lot more than I had any right to. It was, and then I drove the LS afterwards, and I went, oh shit, they fucked up. They shouldn't have given me that ES first, because the new ES was better than the newest LS, and because it was front-wheel drive, it had so much more room in the back seat. The LS's rear-wheel drive architecture took up a lot of the rear seat room. I was like, oh shit.
Was the ES better because it's smaller, more maneuverable, and better in canyons, or was it just? Because the LS is like
it was
for a very
like
specific
the same
person, I think.
physical footprint almost as the LS, but it used the space so much better.
Oh,
it had a lot more room inside, and it had like 100 horsepower less, but it was 1,000 horsepower lighter, or 1,000 pounds lighter, and it was just like, oh, all right, well, all that extra shit doesn't really help me very much. Yeah. Anyway, boys, plug your film before we get out of here. Where can they find it? What's the action item?
You can find it is called. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
No. It's called Almost Like Home, although the full title on YouTube is much longer. So it's youtube.com/user/regular cars. You can find it all there.
=SWG4 pound sign. Just read off the link.
Hypertext marketing language protocol.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, Regular Cars on Twitter, Regular Car Reviews on Instagram.
No, the full title of the video is The Volkswagen T3 Westphalia is Almost Like Home. Regular Car Reviews 2020 Special. Get it.
Yes.
Go to YouTube. Get it.
Yeah.
Ivan, it's very nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And yeah, wish it could have been in person. Sorry, this virus happened.
Yeah, it'll happen again. Not the virus, you guys being here in person. And by the time you come back, we won't be in our shitty studio. We'll be in the good new studio, I'm sure.
I'm very excited to see that sometime.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys get a production deal with somebody to make some higher budget stuff. It is definitely, if you've been making zero budget for stuff for a while, it's fun to get to play with good toys and chase cars and all kinds of shit like that. Aside from that, anything else on the horizon for the standard RCR that's worth plugging?
If Well, depending on how this stuff goes, RCR Australia 2021, RCR Japan 2022.
Japan. See, now you and I have to get Taro. He'll sort us up with the best motoring guys while we're over there.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's got the hookup.
I am going to be. I've never been in a country where English may not work everywhere, so I am going to need help over there. Roman and I, are going to need help.
Tokyo's fun as fuck, dude. I was only there for 4 days, and it's super fun, and I'm jealous you get to go back. I would like to go back very soon. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your quarantine, boys.
Thank you.
Nice to see you guys.
Thank you so much.
We will.
Roman, nice to see you as well.
You too.
Keep it
Nice to
gangster,
see ya.
my friends. We will see you soon. Stay safe. Wash your hands. All that shit. For the live audience who wants to catch us this week, we are back Thursday afternoon at 5 p.m. 4 p.m.
4.
Thursday at 4 p.m. We got Johnny Lieberman calling in, and it is going to be Vinny Russo's goodbye party as he is moving to Houston because he's got to keep his job, and that's the way the cookie fucking crumbles, unfortunately. But we're going to wave goodbye to Vinny Russo on the podcast on Thursday at 4 o'clock. Thanks, everybody. The Smoking Tire Podcast is powered by Shout Engine. Get your own podcast at shoutengine.com. It's easy. All you need is a microphone, a connection to the internet, a fucking way to video chat with people, and ideally something to say. Good evening, folks.
Stand by, guys.